see if we're back. Did that fix it? Because I'm hoping that it did. That would be nice if it fixed it. I mean, I have the stream up on my laptop so that I can see how it's looking and everything, and I can participate in L chat. Still not great. I don't know what I can do to fix that at that point. Is the video looks okay, even if sound is stuttering. So, well, maybe it'll get better. Anyway, here I am. My name is Amanda. Is the streaming laptop muted? No. I have it up. Muted like it's not giving any audio out, and I can see that it's taking audio in. And I have the sound turned up. This is my first time running the stream. I don't normally do this end of it. Normally I am the chat mod. Since it's using the mic on the laptop, it might be having issues with the stream. No, it is definitely not trying to play sound from the laptop. Volume is off. Yeah. I think we'll definitely want to be using other mics in the future than the internal mic in the laptop. So we may be graced with the presence of a cat at some point. That's honestly why I left the wide view as wide as it is, because she's been sleeping right there on the couch. So I'm gonna build some Lego, even if the sound isn't awesome. I don't know what's causing it, and I don't know enough about the setup to troubleshoot it much more than I just did. I have a couple of options. We have the Captain Marvel Quinjet, like proto Quinjet, because it's the 90s. We have Hogwarts Express. Is that right side up? Yeah, it is. Excellent. I have Hogwarts Express, which is a much longer process. And I have the Iron Man Hall of Armor. So those are my options for today. I feel like this is maybe going to be a Captain Marvel sort of day. I feel like we kind of need Carol right now. I just realized I need to cut this open, and I did not. Oh, I know what I have that I can use. The right move. Alrighty. So, Andy is currently at Battleground Games and Hobbies. If you don't know what Battleground Games and Hobbies is, how did you find us? It's weird. But also, welcome. Battleground Games and Hobbies is a game and hobby store in the greater Boston area. It is currently working on some limited hours due to situations outside of our control at the moment. The stores are open for 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday. That is 3 to 9. I forget Saturday's hours. Andy will probably say in the chat. And then Sunday's hours are 11 to 5. You can order things by calling. Saturdays are noon to 8. Okay, so 8 hours on Saturdays. You can buy things over the phone. You can call one of the stores. There's one in Abington, just south of Boston. There's one in Norton, further south near the Xfinity Center. And that's the only reason you're going to be going down towards the Xfinity Center anytime soon. And then there's one up north in Saugus near the Fuddruckers. If you hit the Red Roof Inn, it's just past that. So that's Battleground. Battleground is normally a great place to get together with friends and play games. Right now you can't do that because it's for the best. It's safer that way. So that's a little frustrating, a little disappointing, but we all want to get through this, and we all want to be safe and healthy, and we all want all of our friends and family to be safe and healthy, and that extends to our Battleground family. We want our Battleground friends and family to be safe and healthy, and one way to do that is to not let them go out and play games in the store, because just too close. Let's practice safe social distancing. So what I'm doing right now while Andy is in the store, but he's calling me right now, so hey, what's up? Fix the sound issue? It's real bad? Alright, let's see what we can do. I see that. Unhide all, hide, filters, properties, advanced audio properties. Going to advanced audio properties. It has a mic volume percentage down mix to mono, which seems to be a tick box. Panning doesn't exist because we don't have multiple mics. Sync offset by milliseconds, it looks like. And monitor and output for audio monitoring, and then tracks 1 through 4. Do you want me to choose monitor off or monitor only? Mute output. I have turned monitor off. There was only close, there was no save. So that's what I did. Alright, cool. Okay, bye. Oh, this is going to be our best VOD yet. So repeating. Rewind, repeat. Battleground Games and Hobbies is a local game store in the greater Boston area. Normally, Battleground is a great place to go and, tech support. Is a great place to go and hang out and play games with your friends, be it card games, board games, war games. Right now, that's not the safest thing in the world to do, so Battleground has canceled events, unfortunately, and is not allowing people to gather in the store. It's just not safe to do that. So instead, I am streaming some stuff from home. Andy and I are going to be streaming some board games from home when we can. We've streamed Spirit Island. Last night we played some Magic the Gathering Unsanctioned, which the Sword of Dungeons and Dragons won me handily. But only after Andy played Topsy Turvy and made my brain break. But he did this, so. But Battleground Games and Hobbies, Greater Boston area, 3 stores: Abington, Norton, Saugus. Abington is just south of Boston. Norton is further south near the Xfinity Center, and it's a good landmark even if nothing's going on there. And Saugus is up on Route 1, just past the Red Roof Inn. If you see the Red Roof Inn, get ready to turn right. So those are the stores, and even though they are closed to gatherings and events right now, you can call any of those 3 stores while they are open. They have limited hours right now. They're open 3 to 9 Monday through Friday, and Saturdays noon to 8 and Sundays 11 to 5. You can call and pay over the phone. They will run your card over the phone, and when you arrive at the store, they will bring out your order to you, You can order Magic singles. You can order board games. You can order Warhammer minis and modeling and painting supplies. So if you think, man, I just want to paint some minis while I'm stuck in the house, you can do that. Battleground can make it happen. So give them a call, see what they've got in stock. The staff will be happy to look through the stock and see what they've got and let you know. And then they'll ring you up and bring it outside so that you can then, after they've gone back in, go out and get it. We all want to be safe. We want to be careful. We want to be healthy. So do be careful. Please do be respectful of the staff in the store. Know that they are... No, Clara. Clara found my package of card staves. Please do be respectful of the staff in the store. They are going into the store to help you, and they want to remain healthy as well. So as the spouse of one of those people, please be respectful of the staff if you do go into the store. They're more than happy to do things over the phone. You can also order Magic singles online. Andy has been working tirelessly at getting cards up on the online store. So if you go to their online store, you can definitely buy cards. Yeah, I don't know if the cat is going to actually make a cameo at the moment because right now she is feeling very playful. But if she decides to make a cameo, she will probably hop up onto the bed right there. So I'm going to switch over to Zoom Cam, and I'm going to start. You can buy gift cards online too. That's also a good point. So gift cards are a really good way to help out your favorite small businesses right now while they are facing a really difficult situation where they want to keep their communities and their customers and their staff safe and healthy, but also be able to eventually open their doors again to full business. Gift cards sort of give them a little bit of a bank to hold on to, which is really good. You can buy gift cards online. They'll be happy to send them to you. So yeah. So I'm going to switch over to the Zoom Cam and start knolling out my Lego. The Zoom Cam does have a limited range, so we'll see. We've got some decals, some decals. Let's see, Zoom Cam. Here we are. That's bag 2. We don't need that yet. I do also have a chatbot running, hopefully through the laptop over there. We did bring as much of our streaming rig home as we could. I think Andy's going to bring the soundboard and some mics home so that we aren't stuck with just a mic that we have no stand for and the internal mic in the laptop. Oh, love the sound of all this plastic opening. So I bought this set for a couple of reasons. One, love Carol. Love Carol. 2, I love Goose. It comes with a little Goose minifig. So, who's the cutest flirkin'? Maybe it's Clara. Alright. So I'm going to put my instructions right there. And I'm going to do as I always do by laying out my pieces. You won't be able to see my entire knolling because the Zoom Cam won't catch it all, but this is not a huge set. If I'm going to do Hogwarts, the Hogwarts Express, I think I will probably want to do a different camera setup for this. But for now, here we are. So this is my living room. It's not very big. It is full of Lego. So we have the helicarrier here. I've got Hogwarts and Orthanc behind me. Off camera, I have a number of other sets. I've got, looking over into that corner of the room, I have the classic Batcave, which I love. It's got like the red phone, it's got the statue that you fold up, and it's got the button underneath. You can actually send your bad guys twisting down the poles. It's got the nuclear pile, don't climb on. A little decal for that. It's really cute. It's got the classic Batmobile, it's got a Batcopter, it's got a lot of classic villains as well. So it's got like classic Penguin and classic Batwoman, or not Batwoman, Catwoman, classic Riddler, classic Joker, as well as Batman and Robin, and Alfred, which I think I had to make Alfred. I think I made Alfred out of like the minifig station in one of the Lego stores. So let's see, what else do I have in my living room right now? I have the classic Batcave. I also have a like more modern Batcave. I've got Arkham Asylum. There's Treebeard and one of the Eagles. Andy built the Saturn V rocket, and that's standing over here. We have the Sandcrawler. I have an ATST down there. I have a couple of Marvel-y things. I've got Poe Dameron's X-Wing. We've got the TARDIS with Matt Smith's Doctor and some Daleks. We've got the Kamala jet. We've got, I see Groot. Down behind me, there's there's like Smog and the battle for the mountain. A bunch of dwarves. I also have in the other room a whole bunch of other stuff. I've got the pirate ship from Lord of the Rings. Miserable sea rats. I've got, let's see, I've got Bag End, which also has a lot of dwarves. Hey, Pie. How's my friend? How are you doing? Clara might join us. She might. No, she keeps wandering away. She's, like, doing her thing. She's doing her own thing. She has eaten dinner. You have a cookie? Lucky you. There's Carol. Continue to knoll my pieces. I know it's, like, awkward and diagonal for people, but it's just how it's going to be. You gotta organize your pieces before you build. Sprawled on the floor sounds right about for a cat. Yeah, she's like exploring the kitchen because we have like food bags in there that have a whole bunch of like beans and stuff. And she's fascinated by those bags. Hey, Travis. Good to see you. How's it going? What did you find? It's just a piece of cardboard. Don't eat that. Oh, she is a wild girl. My Clara. It's a good thing you're cute. Ah. It's one of the things that Carol gets that was in this little bitty bag. But Mother, it contains fiber. I mean, maybe. Don't eat that either. That's a cable. That doesn't contain any fiber. Come on, Carol. Grr. Oh, I see. It's done differently. She gets these nifty little things to put on her hands because she's powerful and she's punching. So. The traditional parental game of what have you got in your mouth? Yeah. It's definitely a cat parent thing as well. Pet parents know well the... What is that? What is that? Where did you get it? Our friend Amy, for quite some time. Pie, that's awesome! Oh, that's so good! I've been so worried about that. Like, I know your childcare center was closed, and that's very good, but I'm glad that the larger concerns were heard. I understand the concern of making sure that first responders and people who are like emergency workers and medical workers have a way to make sure that their kids are taken care of so that they can safely go in and be doing the things that need doing during this situation. But there have to be other options than keeping childcare centers open to the general public, which would mean kids just coming in with no sort of filter to make sure that they're coming in from healthy households, because there's no way to know whether it's a healthy household. I mean, even first responders, that's dicey, but at least there's a recognizable need there. And I feel bad for people who are, working in jobs that they can't say no. They have to keep going in. But they have kids and they need a place for those kids to be. But it is safer for everyone if we do not have large groups of potentially infectious small children just gathered near adults who may be at risk. So, there needs to be a massive, massive, massive support package happening. The fact that so many people are not paid enough. So many of the people that are apparently essential, to the sort of general functioning of our society are not paid enough. To continue to function during this situation. Andy, you had a firefighter in the store earlier buying painting supplies to work on while on alert. That's really cool. Well, kudos to him. because goodness knows we need to make sure that if fires do happen, we do still have people to fight them. Yeah, so this is a thing that I've been frustrated about at the library. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but it's definitely a frustrating situation, and this, I think, is the case for anyone who is called upon to go into work during blizzards and the like, which I frequently am. Our city, okay, this is step one, by the way. Our city frequently, we live in the Northeast, the Northeastern United States. We live in New England. New England gets snow. It's just how it is. And frequently, the library will be asked to stay open, even when it is a state of emergency. And this has always confused me. Because, well, I like to think that I am an essential service in certain ways. Do they really need me in the library during a blizzard? Probably not. That just encourages people to come out in a blizzard. So, like, there'll be a state of emergency declared, and then the library is still open, and we're still expected to come in or use our own time. And my thought on that is, if you're going to declare us sort of essential services in that way, you should also be paying us hazard pay and as if we were essential services. You can't really have it both ways. I mean, they can, because obviously they have been. But having it both ways is unsafe for everyone. So that's my thinking. If you're going to if you're going to treat it like an essential service in a crisis, then you should be paying the staff as if they are essential services. They should be getting hazard pay. They should be getting taken care of in the way that your first responders are if they're being treated like they are essential services, like, say, during a disaster. If you're not going to give them that consideration, then you cannot really expect them to behave like first responders or emergency services. Yeah, one of the things that I know full well, because my mother is a teacher, don't mess with teachers. Don't mess with educators. They're smart, for one, and there are a lot of teachers out there. There are a lot of educators. And this is one of the things that we learn. I'm a union rep for my union. And one of the things that we learned very quickly, or I learned very quickly in the union, is that the teachers are one of the biggest unions in our city. And even more so than the firefighters and the police, the teachers really drive a lot of policy making. Because there are just a lot of them. That means there's a lot of people out there who are educators, and I'm very certain that they have that they have a vested interest in keeping each other safe. If you can hear yelling, that is apparently my downstairs neighbor, who is now on the porch and having a vociferous argument with someone. I'm going to move some of my pieces back, make some room. I definitely think if I do another kit, if I do a bigger kit, I'm going to want to pull this table out and lift up the other flap on it. Alright, so this is what our ship looks like at the moment. So ages ago, we changed our toilet paper, and I was like, oh, can't hear her? Awesome. I can hear her perfectly fine. We changed our toilet paper, and this is like, I don't know, months ago, we changed our toilet paper, and I was like, Clara seems to like cardboard. Hey, I was just talking about you. Clara seems to like cardboard. How about I give her a cardboard tube to play with, and I put it on the floor, and she doesn't play with it constantly, but every once in a while she goes back to it. She's going in the window. She's going to check things out. She's probably hearing the same stuff I'm hearing. All right. Two of these. So I just thought some Lego building would let me chat with some people and keep my mind off things, which I need. I had a really hard night last night. It's easy late at night. Normally I'm a night owl. I'm nocturnal by nature. And when I'm working, I can't be nocturnal because I have to be up in the morning for work. I'm not working right now. So I'm awake, and then I freak out. So it was a hard night last night. It was rough. Andy will attest to that one. Yeah. We just got to be here for each other. Got to take care of each other. And that's the frustrating thing, is not being able to, like, physically take care of each other right now. But we can emotionally take care of each other. We can be here for each other. We can talk with each other. We can share tips and tricks. We can stream and chat. Oh, hold on a second. It wants me to restart the laptop. That's not gonna happen. How about we don't? I just didn't want it to be like, oh, you didn't answer, so I'm gonna restart now. And then have chatbot be like, gone. I may do that. Last night was rough. And I don't want to go through that again. I will say it's really nice having a cat. I know not everyone can have a pet in their building. I'm sorry for that. But having Clara around has been so helpful. So if she pops up on stream, which I hope she will, I hope she is helpful to people, just to be able to see her. I may do that. I just, it's hard. It's the unknown. Someone's still unhappy downstairs. I don't know what's going on. My phone? It shouldn't have been my phone. Weird. Didn't like that noise. Anyway, continuing on. Let's finish building this ship. And then maybe we'll just hang out and chat. Ooh, I didn't change... I don't think I changed what type of stream this is. Though I guess it sort of falls under crafts, right? Like this morning was, Andy was painting. Yeah, I guess this qualifies as creative, right? It says model building? I don't know how to change that. Andy, how do I change that? I changed the, like, in-screen title. I mean, it is kind of model building. Just not those models. You can fix it from there. Cool. I think creative still fits. You think both are accurate, to be honest? Yeah, I mean, it works. It might be better to say Lego building specifically, just so that if someone's looking at the description of the stream, they see it. Anyway. Ooh, I get to use a decal. It's time. It's time for decals. Well, it's time for a decal. I'm gonna put that. It's gotta be one of these. There. It's this little control panel-y thing. It's not on straight, and I don't care. I don't think there's a good way to do keep talking and nobody Legos over the internet. Like, I don't think there'd be a good way for me to do it with chat because you don't have the instructions. Okay. Now I get to use these bits here. We're supposed to go face to face. And then get one of these in between. So this is only box one, or bag one. I've got 3 bags. Should be classified as brick building now. I think I'd have to reload. Yeah, we did it at Extra Life, but we did it in person, as opposed to doing it virtually. Yeah. Ooh, that was a satisfying snap. Oh, there is now a cat visible on camera. She's in the corner. She's right there. There she is. Clara, you're on camera. They can see you. Here, hold on. There she is. Love her. It's my girl. We could definitely do Obscurio with chat on Friday. Do you want to do that? Let's plan on that. Obscurio will play 2 players. So if no one joins us, we can still play. And if people join us, then they can play too. I'll just, either you or I will hold the book up to the camera. You're on board? Awesome pie. Then let's set that now and say yes, we are doing Obscurio with chat on Friday. We have a lot of other games that we can play as well. Andy's probably still going to do some painting streams from home. Excuse me. I did not sleep well last night. Surprise, surprise. I'm hoping I'll sleep a little bit better tonight. You're definitely around. Yeah, I mean, me too. I am wondering, so we got this email about like working from home, and I have mixed opinions on it because on one hand, I'm like, I like to be useful. I like to be helpful. I want to do things. Speaking of which, thank you for those links. Hi. That page is definitely something that is coming along, and once it goes up, hopefully I'll have it live soon. And if you have more, basically my idea is as I find more links, I will add more to the a little less disorienting. As I find more links and more things, I will keep adding them to that page and keep things moving, hopefully. Oh my goodness, she's so cute. I can't even stand it. Sorry, I was just overwhelmed by a cat. I looked over and she was all asleep and cute. And I thought to myself, my goodness, she's adorable, and I can't stand it. What am I supposed to do with such an adorable cat? What am I supposed to do? She's just too cute. Milton is loaning books via curbside delivery. You can call ahead and they put your books on a cart outside for you. I mean, we could do that. Honestly, we could do that in Quincy in theory. It's not the trusting aspect that is the issue. One, Milton's population is a lot smaller than Quincy's. And two, then the question becomes, what do you do when the items get returned? And this is what we're facing in Quincy. There's sort of a discussion. Do we want to go back in and keep the building close to the public, keep our distance from each other, and process returns? But who's been handling the returns? And how long do we leave them? The custodians have been going in to clear out the book drops while wearing gloves, but yeah. Yeah, it's not a trusting sort of thing at this point in time. I think it's more a case of how much risk are you willing to take. We want to do things to help our workplace. I mean, goodness knows I want the library to be able to help people even now. But a lot of what we're doing is going to have to be remote, and that's hard. It's remote story time is difficult, and I know there are places that are doing it. One of the considerations you actually have to take into consideration so you don't get shut down are performance rights. And I know that sounds so stupid, but here we are. Performance rights for reading things out loud are a thing. So at that point, you're really talking about either making sure that you're only reading out public domain stories, which means they have to be rather old, or you're doing folktales that are in the public domain because they're not owned by any one person. So like you could do the Three Pegs. You just have to do no one specific version of the Three Pegs. Or you're doing improv storytelling. You're doing a story out of your head, which I can do. I'm fully capable of doing that. In fact, I did it for speech team in middle school. They had a improvisational storytelling event, and it was the only event that I did, which was they gave you 3 items. It was like an improv game. They gave you 3 items, and you had to leave the room for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, make up a story, write your notes down, and then go in and tell your story, and tell it well. You had to be a good expressive storyteller. And I did that. So I'm capable of it. I write stories. It's a thing I do. But then you're doing it, it has to be theater of the mind, because you're doing it without illustrations, unless you happen to. That's just wing it, right? Yeah, basically. I think I actually mentioned that when we played Wing It. Was that, oh, this is a thing that I did for speech team. So yeah, at that point you're sort of doing improvisational storytelling. And then there's the question of where do you do it from, where do you post it to? Because some libraries have a YouTube channel. My library doesn't. So then the question becomes, do you set up a YouTube channel? Well, I'm not authorized to do that. So do I talk to the assistant director and say, hey, I'm going to film some improvisational storytelling in my living room with my own camera and put it up online for kids? Like, are people actually going to watch that in my living room? I'd have to zhuzh up my living room a fair amount, I think. So, yeah, that's the tricky part, and that's the thing where you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. You can't just grab a couple of picture books off the shelf and read them. I saw you start shipping Teo and Percy. So quick explanation for this for anyone who is watching a YouTube video of this and not seeing the chat. So Insidious Pie, who is one of our chat regulars and a good friend of both Battleground and myself and Andy, Insidious Pie and I are both super into an indie visual novel called Arcade Spirits. Arcade Spirits is made by Fiction Factory Games. The sort of 2 people responsible for it, Anna and Stefan, also known as Two Flower, are both awesome people. They do both stream. So, you know, just heads up that Two Flower streams as Two Flower, the numeral 2 followed by flower. And what's Enna's? Is it Sharky Enna or Peachy Enna? I don't remember which one her actual stream handle is. Hi, do you know? There we go. So 2 flower, 2 and then like the number 2 and flower, and Sharky Enna. So that's SHARKYAENNE. Peachy Enna is her Twitter. Okay, I can never remember which is which. They're both really awesome people, and they made a really awesome game. And Pi and I both love this game. It's got a lot going for it. It's got a lot to recommend. One of the things we love about it is that it is so versatile. There's also no losing. There's you don't get cut off from anything, really. You can get cut off from like romance options basically by not spending enough time with the person you want to romance. If you haven't spent time with them, guess what? You don't get to romance them. But there's not like a penalty like they hate you now. The only way to lose is to not play. Ashley's date made you cry and you loved it. I knew you would love Ashley. Ashley is like, I went into the game thinking Ashley is this like cutesy blonde girl And yeah, she loves cosplay. Cool. But I didn't expect her to turn out to be, like, I would say, and I'm saying this, know that I love every character in this game. Ashley, I think, is my second favorite character. She comes in second only to Juniper. She's amazing. And finding out more about her, learning about who she is and how she sees herself, was, yeah, it made me cry. So I highly recommend anyone watching this either on the VOD or YouTube or watching live, check out Arcade Spirits. It is coming out on consoles. It's coming out in physical copies and downloadable copies for consoles in May or June. Soon. Like, relatively soon, which is really awesome. If you cannot wait, May. Okay. If you can't wait, and don't, it's really good. I would highly, highly, highly recommend checking it out on Steam or itch.io. It's out there. And if you just look up Arcade Spirits, you'll find it. It's not hard to find. And it is an amazing game. You get to choose your gender. Female, male, non-binary. You get to choose hair color and length, and sort of your outfit, but there's a ton of art in the game, so you're not as customizable. Like body type and stuff isn't customizable in this one, largely because there were scenes that had to incorporate artwork, and the more artwork they pay for, the more artwork they have, the more they have to pay for. But it's a fantastic game. I love it. There are 8... Yeah, you get to pick your pronouns. Eye color, I forgot. You can pick your eye color and skin tone. So there's Gavin, Percy, Teo, Queen Bee, Ashley, Naomi, and Juniper. You can pick Juniper. 7 romance choices, or none romance. There is an ace option, which is one of the things that I love the most about it, is that you do not have to romance. You could say, I want to play this and make friends. I'm here to make friends. And if you choose to do that, that is a 100% valid choice. The game does not, like, shame you or anything for it. In fact, it actually gives you a sort of, a bit of a bonus to how it plays, which made me really, really happy. So, I love Arcade Spirits, and Pi and I have both played it multiple times. I've played through it enough that I have now gotten all of the romance options. I did all the romance options, including Juniper. I did the Arrow Ace option. I also did the good ending. That was rough. That was hard to do. There's a way to lose the game. There's only one way to lose the game, which is to not play. Yeah, which Andy mentioned. The only way to lose is to not play. Yeah, you can choose to not sort of play into what the game is offering you, in which case, why are you playing it? Which I think was Two Flowers thinking. It's like, yeah, if you're gonna play the game, go with the game's story. But yeah. No. Yeah, I did that at one point. I was like, no, I'm not going to do the thing the game wants me to do. And you get the good ending. And it's, God, it's horrible. It's not like horrific, but man, it's horrible. Speaking of horrible, Pi, did you get to play the demo for, or did you watch, were you in Two Flowers' stream when he was doing the early access for World of Horror? Oh, it's almost 8 o'clock. I will tell you, yeah, Jacob also played it because it's put out by Yisbrid. So Yisbrid Games is a small game publisher. They have a number of games out. They have, one of the games that's coming out is Valhalla, and yeah, I'm blanking. But Yisbrid is great. Yisbrid is a small game publisher. Jacob Burgess is their community manager, and also he's now like their director of operations or something. He's basically like, he's in charge of their merch now as well, which I need to pop into their Discord and, or maybe hit him on, his DMs are open usually. Because I think a thing that, yeah, Nirvana, it's like, there's Nirvana and Valhalla, and they're both, written with, like, leet speak, sort of stuff. But he was asking on stream at one point if we had any ideas for merch that they should have to let him know. I need a shirt with the dog shop. So in World of Horror, which is a roguelite game with, the flavor of it is that it is a Japanese horror game. So it's got all this Japanese horror sort of stuff to it with like eldritch horror mixed in, which is really interesting. All of the art was apparently done in MS Paint. No! I dropped a piece. Yeah, Undead Yoma. Yeah. One of the movies Andy and I watched. Oh, I was wondering what that noise was, and then I just realized I'm wearing slippers that have little like nubbly bits on the bottom, like little rubberized grippy bits, and I had my feet up against the leg of the chair, and they were making this horrible noise. Yeah. Anyway, dog shop. Let's talk about the dog shop. In this game, the roguelite sort of element is that it randomly picks, it's sort of generated randomly when you start playing it, which scenarios you are going to have to deal with. And so in the demo, I got to pick between the Scissor Woman. Oh, you did play it, because you played the Scissor Woman scenario. You told me that. which I definitely did not, because I was like, I'm not playing Scissor Woman. I played the, like, you have to go and mourn your great uncle scenario, which was also terrible. I never found the thing that I was supposed to burn. So I did the first part of the ritual, where you go to your uncle, your, like, dead uncle's body, and you bow and clap in a certain order. And then I totally, oh my god, she's being cute. Hey, everybody, she's being cute. Hold on. Look at her. She's being cute. Andy, we need a Clara cam. Look at her. She's really good at being adorable. Love it. Love it. She's not going to stop being cute anytime soon. Yeah, you mentioned it heavily implies that you are now the Scissor Woman. Yeah. Yeah, you're in the version, the thing that I played, you were supposed to find, I built a scroll. You're supposed to find a thing in one of the rooms and burn it. And I went into that room, I could never find the card I was supposed to find to burn. So I didn't burn it, and then when I went back to my uncle's body, it was gone. Oops. Oopsie. So yeah, we ended up, you know, resurrecting him instead of putting him to rest. And then we summoned an elder god. Like you do. Alright. Oh, I can just make his gun. So one of the things that LEGO has done since, like, I was a kid and played with LEGO is that they've made these frighteningly good weapons. So they have these little pistols, and you basically stick a pip onto the front of it, and these little doohickeys that stick into the gun fire it. It's this little bit that sort of rocks back and forth. So when you push the pip in, it sort of sticks it down, and then you can push the rocker down, and it forces the pip out to shoot it. So this is supposed to be Talos's gun. This makes me want to watch Captain Marvel, which I brought home from work before this whole thing, I mean, not before this whole thing started, but when I was like, gee, I'm not going to be back in my branch for a while, back when they were only closing the branch and not the full library. I was like, I might as well go through the movies we've got and grab some things. So I grabbed some things. So yeah, yeah, let's watch Captain Marvel tonight. You're gonna get home like around 10-ish. Let's watch Captain Marvel. Alright, so I'm starting with this. One of the things that I like to do when I've got more space to work on for LEGO is I like to pull aside the pieces that I'm using.
Now entering the Battlegrounds arena!
Andy, thanks for giving a subscription to Windsock. Also, hi Windsock. Did you give like a random sub? That's cool. Neat. Thanks. What was I saying? Lego, right. Building Lego. When I build Lego normally, one of the things that I like to do is at the beginning of each step, I pull aside all of the pieces that I'm going to need for that step so that I know that I've used up all the pieces that I was supposed to use up on that page and I don't lose track of what I'm building. Working in this small a space, that's not a thing that's happening right now. So I'm having to be very careful about what I'm building at any given time and that I'm using all the pieces that I'm being instructed to use. Because I don't want to, I've done this in the past where, like, if I'm real tired and not on top of my game, I sometimes end up, like, I put 3 out of 4 pieces on. And then I hit a point towards the end of the bag where I realize, why do I have so many of these things left over? And then I realized that I was supposed to put 3 of them on the build earlier, and I didn't. Oops. And then I'm sort of stuck. Then you gotta take the whole thing apart to try and get things back where they belong. The Sandcrawler has, to this day, a thing that is wrong with it, which bothers me slightly, but by the time I knew what was wrong, there was no undoing. I would have had to undo basically the entire build, and I do not have, I especially didn't have the time or brain for that at the time, because we built a little thingy. We're gonna build another one of those thingies. It tells me to build 2 of them. One of the things that I do, I love Lego. Lego is one of my favorite things, as evidenced by how much of it I have in my apartment. One of the things that I have done in the past is we've done streams for Extra Life. Extra Life is a wonderful charity that donates money and toys and stuff to children's hospitals, to the hospitals in the Children's Miracle Network. And they run a gaming marathon every November, early November. It's always like, I think, the first weekend in November. And they sort of host fundraising efforts. And if you sign up with them, then you can have people donate to Extra Life through your portal and raise money for them, which is awesome because they're really great. And I have in the past done Lego builds during the Extra Life stream at the store. Now I need my ship. So these are going to hook on basically right here. Not sure how far back they need to go. I guess it can't go. It can't really go much further forward. So, yeah, basically we've done streams of board games. We've done like board game marathon streams. So now they're stuck on the edges. They're great. We've done board game streams overnight. It's a 24 or 25-hour marathon because it tends to happen on the same weekend as daylight savings. So, 25 hours of board games. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's exhausting. I was pretty wrecked this year. Not as wrecked as I have been before, but it was a rough year. It made worse by the fact that I had to come home and feed the cat. I mean, I did get to shower, and that did make me feel immensely more human. But it's a long time. It's a long time. So we do board games. We usually will do starting a new piece. We'll usually play a bunch of board games in the wee small hours of the morning. We will try to play something far more complex than our brains can handle. And sometime towards the end of the night, I will get tired enough that it becomes time for me to start building Lego. But Amanda, you ask, why build Lego when you're tired? Well, I say to you, because I can focus on it. Building Lego when I'm tired, I get to like really hone in on whatever I'm doing. I'm looking at the pieces, I'm building. I would have to say I would be willing to try Keep Talking and Nobody Legos again, which is a game that you play where the person building doesn't have the instructions and the person with the instructions can't see the pieces. We didn't do it quite that way. We didn't do the can't see the pieces part of it, but we did do the doesn't have the instructions part of it. And I didn't get to see the instructions, and Pi and our friend Travis got to give me the instructions. And I think I would be willing to try it again, but not while I'm that tired, because it turned what is normally a fairly stressless thing that lets me sort of just dial in and focus. It turned it into a very stressful situation. And I was already really tired, and I got a little snappish, and I wasn't very proud of myself for that. But I was definitely really exhausted at that point, and while it was fun objectively, in the moment, I was definitely getting very, very stressed. So yeah, I would definitely be willing to try it again, just not necessarily at the end of Extra Life. So this is supposed to fit onto here, but it's not clicking in, and that's annoying me. There we go. Quiet here now. They didn't know D&D was canceled? Come on. Yeah, let's show up to a large group of people, all hanging around and sharing snacks. Yeah, like that was widely publicized. No cars in the parking lot. I guess D&D is canceled? You are correct. There are apparently still spring breakers, like, hitting Miami. So, it's great. our second wing. Now we do the reinforcing part of it. Yeah, it's, I mean, I guess if you aren't paying attention, if you didn't know, or if you don't really follow any of the social media, I can sort of see that. But still, as soon as, like, the state is like, no. Yeah, I saw that your father's intending to go to Greece. I got news for him. I don't think he's going to be able to get there. I think he's going to find that a difficult proposition. Like, completely aside from, is it safe? Which it probably will not be. I don't think flying overseas for anything beyond, like, an emergency is something that's going to happen. I don't think just wanting to go on vacation is a thing that anyone's going to be booking flights for. Like, for other people. Yeah. So we've got that's what we've got right now. So I'm gonna try and be on camera more. Now that I am not going to be messing up all my pieces by having myself on camera. Yeah, awesome. There were more voices in the hallway. He'll try. I mean, it's a bad idea, and you and I know it's a bad idea, but I honestly think he'll have a hard time actually accomplishing it. Yeah, a Skype call seems like a really good plan. If I could get my parents to do Skype, that would be great, but actually, we could probably FaceTime them. They both have iPhones. There's just a lot going on outside right now. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I am lucky in that my parents are both fairly sensible. And, like I said, I'm lucky in that. They were both very surprised. I talked to them today. They were both very shocked that they tried to put in a Peapod order and Peapod isn't delivering. I was like, well, of course they're not delivering. There's nothing left in the store to deliver. I think they had just sort of assumed that there was a big warehouse of food somewhere that was still fully stocked. But they're otherwise very sensible people. So they're basically I mean, you know what? She's probably also trying to talk him out of it, Pi. If his girlfriend is sensible, my guess is he either hasn't told her this plan, and when he does, she will be like, what are you thinking? Or he's told her this plan, and she has been spending all day, every day, being like, no, this is a bad idea. What are you thinking? Yeah, I am lucky that my parents are both pretty sensible. They've both been very careful. They're being very careful, which is really good and makes me feel better. My dad has some lingering health issues from having Rocky Mountain spotted fever several years back, which is a tick-borne virus. It's nasty. You only get maybe 4 or 5 cases per year in the state. And it can be fairly asymptomatic. If you don't notice the rash, or if you don't get it, the rash is not a guarantee. I mean, it's called Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever because it has a rash associated with it, right? Like, that's the spotted part. But if you never develop a rash, or you develop a rash, but it's in a place that you can't see necessarily, like on your back or like behind a knee or something, you may not notice it. And if you do not get hospitalized within a week, then your organs shut down. And fortunately, he went to work. He was an obstetrician, and he had gone to work, and he wasn't feeling too well. You know, he said to his nurse and to his secretary, he's like, I'm not feeling great, feeling a little out of it. And he thought he like had a cold. He thought he had like maybe the flu. And then he sat down and he was really out of it. And his nurse was like, nope, we are taking you across the street to the hospital. So fortunately, Cape Cod Hospital was right across the street from where he was. And they got him to the hospital, and he was immediately admitted to the ICU. I had a dentist appointment and came home to increasingly terrified calls from my mother, wondering where I was, and talking about going down to the Cape to find out what was going on, because he had been admitted to the hospital and we didn't know why. And he needed help breathing, though part of that was also that whoever initially admitted him and started him on like a broad spectrum antibiotics, because they didn't know what it was at first. There's a lot of testing that has to be done to figure out, what it is. They didn't know what it was at first, and they just knew that he was not doing terribly well pretty quickly. They put him on broad spectrum antibiotics, one of which was a penicillin derivative, and my dad is allergic to penicillin, as am I. Here's our ship at the moment. So yeah, they put him on antibiotics. Unfortunately, one of them was a penicillin derivative. And until a doctor came in, he was going into respiratory distress every so often. And that was really terrifying, because it didn't seem to match any known thing. Like, all of his symptoms combined would point you in one direction, except for the respiratory distress, which pointed you in a different direction. So they didn't know what it was until another doctor came in and was like, wait a second. He's going into respiratory distress like every couple of hours, just after we give him antibiotics. Is he allergic to something? And looked in his file and realized he's allergic to penicillin. Let's take him off this thing. Besides, if it's Rocky Mountain spotted fever, that's not going to treat it anyway. Because there is, like, a single antibiotic that treats Rocky Mountain. The thing about Rocky Mountain spotted fever is that because there are so few cases in a year, and because, unfortunately, many cases do not end up with survival. You know, you've only got a few cases, and some of them end up, you know, not getting caught in time. That makes it hard to study long-term effects. One of the things that we suspect is a long-term effect is his heart. Now, that could be genetic. His mother had heart issues. He has not led the most healthy of lifestyles, diet-wise. Because he was a doctor and he was coming home very late, so he would just eat easy stuff, which frequently was not the healthiest of stuff. All that being said, my dad's heart is in okay shape, but he does have some underlying issues. And so right now, I think the person I'm most terrified of getting this is my dad. And I'm terrified of anyone I know getting it. I have a friend right now who we suspect has it. We're waiting to hear back on testing for her. But it's my dad. My dad's the one that I'm like most freaked out about because I know he does have underlying issues that are exactly the sort of underlying issues that have caused the most problems. So I'm glad my parents are being smart and safe. They are planning on taking advantage of Stop and Shop's senior-only shopping times, which I'm really, really glad Stop and Shop is doing. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. My parents are being smart and safe and careful. Yeah. I'm also fortunate that my workplace shut down relatively quickly. It did take some convincing to convince the city that maybe we shouldn't have the library open immediately after schools get canceled for like 2+ weeks. You know, and I know this is, you know, one reason why they keep us open in a lot of situations is there are a lot of kids that don't have any other place to go if schools are closed. So they like to keep the library open as much as possible. So like if there's a snowstorm, but it's cleared up in time for us to open, they're going to open us because kids are home from school, but a lot of parents don't have anything to do with them. So come to the library. And you know what? On a snow day when driving conditions aren't horrible, that's okay. It's a little disappointing to be like, no snow day. But, you know, you're glad you're there for the kids. But, this is not, as is stated in that, is it Vox or Medium article, this is not a snow day. It's not a case of, oh, well, we couldn't get to school, therefore let's find something else to do. This is different. Yeah, cast iron pan to the head will do wonders. Cast iron pans are amazing. Let's have a little bit of like cast iron pan appreciation. Cast iron pans are amazing. I inherited a set of cast iron pans from my grandmother. Oh, the cat left. Didn't even see her go. My grandmother grew up in Kentucky. She lived in Ohio most of her life. She liked fried chicken. This is my dad's mother. She liked fried chicken, and she made it regularly in cast iron skillets. And I inherited said cast iron skillets. So I have a couple of very nicely seasoned cast iron skillets. We do need to re-season that one that we use a lot. Because we don't always use it for greasy things, so it doesn't like just automatically re-season itself. So normally when I'm building Lego at home, I use a tray. That tray. It's a little dinner tray. It has little legs. It's from IKEA. What I love about using this tray is that it has this slot and it has these two pockets. And those are, you know, supposed to be for like utensils and stuff like that. But there's what's nice about using that tray is that it provides a nice place for me to stick all these little fiddly bits. All these little fiddly bits have a place to go. I just sort of dump all the little fiddly bits, like all the round bits that roll around. I have seen the LGBTQ armory pins. They're very, very good. I forget what the buy one is, but I wasn't as into it. I was like, oh, okay. I guess. Nick Fury! Young Nick Fury with both eyes. Oh my god, I just realized. No! So, Lego minifigs these days often will have two faces. They have one face on one side of the head and one face on the other side of the head. They usually have two different expressions. Nick here is smiling in one of them, as strange as that is. I was really hoping that one would have one would have both eyes and one would only have one. Shucks. Oh well. Battle axe buy. Yeah, I think my issue with that... Yeah, it's a pity. I think my issue with that is that, when I was in college... And I don't know how common this is. Let me look this up. Like, I don't know if it's still a thing. Yeah, it goes back to the 70s. There's a double-headed axe called a labrys, which is a Greek thing, and it was very much used by the lesbian community to represent themselves, because it has links with like the Amazons and stuff. So I kind of feel like I don't want to be taking a lesbian weapon. They already had it. It's already theirs. I know that sounds so silly, like so petty and so silly and so small, but I don't like taking a symbol that a marginalized group has already claimed for themselves. I don't like the idea of that, so. There is definitely stuff going down outside in my front yard, like on the front steps. And I'm like, do I be nosy? There's like a guy down there now? think a guy lives in that apartment. I'm pretty sure it's 2 women. Oh, well. Because I met one of them once, and then I met a different one once. Is it the cops? It might well be. I don't know. But yeah, I feel conflicted about it because it's not as, I mean, I don't know if it's as common. It's not a community that I'm a part of because I'm not a lesbian. Yeah, I don't know why sword lesbian became a thing. Like, I don't know. I'm fairly internet savvy, but I'm not internet savvy enough to know. I feel like I am online enough that I have seen a lot of the, like, basis for a lot of things because it comes through Tumblr. And Tumblr is this, like, weird meme hatchery. It's very strange. And I feel like there's a lot of, like, Tumblr-y stuff, and I feel like it was a Tumblr thing, that it had to do with, some Tumblr post, and I think a couple of those came first, and I feel like sword lesbian was one of them. So here's where my friend Toshi would roll his eyes, because I'm gonna look it up. Whenever Toshi and I are chatting, something will come up and we'll be like, oh, I wonder what the origin of that is, or I wonder what that means. And Toshi apparently is perfectly capable of being like, guess I'll never know, and walking away from it. I cannot do that. I find that really hard. Because my reaction is to go, I have the internet. I have the power of the internet at my fingertips. I can find out. So whenever, like, something comes up that neither of us know, I'm always like, I'm gonna look it up. And he's like, of course you are. Oh, well, second autofill thing when I type in sword lesbian is sword lesbian meme. So let's find that out. Okay. There are a couple of things. It's like, this user thinks that every lesbian deserves a free sword, which, fair. Yeah, exactly. Why would I not look it up? I have a pocket computer. I live in the future. And then there's also a post that is definitely from Tumblr, that was one of those there are only 2 genders thing, and it was sword lesbian and gun lesbian. So that's probably where it that's like probably why when someone was assigning yeah, there's like a whole Tumblr background to it. So I thought it came out of Tumblr. I was pretty sure. So many things do. Which is all well and good. I mean, I'm not like, oh, how dare the lesbians choose a sword. You can choose a sword if you want. It's a little phallic, but go for it. Claim that phallus. So I'm not mad that, like, the lesbians claimed a sword instead of a battle axe. And, like, battle axe lesbian doesn't really roll off the tongue as much. And there's also sort of a bit of a negative connotation to associating the word battle axe with a woman. Like if I say a woman is a battle axe, I mean that woman looks like she has been through some stuff and she could spit nails, but it can be used derogatorily as well. Yeah, exactly. Why can it only be from decades ago? So I'm not, like, mad that they were like, oh, lesbians get swords. No. Go on. You take your swords, ladies. I'm totally cool with that. It's then the assignment of battle axe to the buys. It's like, what did this stream just do? It just, like, blinked weirdly. I wasn't looking on the actual thing. Yeah, it's the battle axe swings both ways. Like, it unfroze. Super. I was building off camera. I was adding these, which says do not step, or no step. No step. No steppy. Did a steppy. And I was adding these little red panels to either side here. Then we're going to add this. Yeah, like I totally get why they picked battle axe for buys. Swings both ways. It's more that because I think it's very much a Tumblr thing, and I'm not saying this to offend you, Pi, because I know you are much younger than me, but Tumblr tends to have a really young demographic. Especially where the memes come from, tends to be fairly young. And I get, yeah, the cast iron pan is so funny. It's so good. It's just beautiful. Beautiful. But there's a very young demographic on Tumblr, and much as I enjoy Tumblr, it is the Blue Hell site. And it does have a tendency to skew young and to not be aware of history. So there's definitely a, like, why do we need gay marriage? Why do we need gay marriage? Marriage is an antiquated social norm and we shouldn't need it. Yes, but there's a reason why there's such a focus on it, and that goes back to the AIDS epidemic. And gay men not being allowed to visit their partners in hospitals because they weren't family officially. And marriage changed that. If you were married, you could visit, but you're not married, so you can't. You're not married, therefore you're not officially family, which means that your bigoted family that threw you out gets to make your medical decisions and decisions about your end-of-life care. And it is enraging that this was the case. And there's a reason why that history isn't known. It's because so many of the people who lived that history are not around anymore. And that's tragic. And enraging. It makes me so angry. And to then have sort of younger people be like, what's the obsession with marriage? Well, it's not that you're trying to be like the straights. It was that being like the straights gave you rights. And so I think a lot of Tumblr is very young and not particularly interested necessarily in the history behind a lot of stuff. Because we're in the now, which, you know, I get that. We're at now. I get it. I do. But there is history. The obsession with marriage it didn't come out of a vacuum. It didn't come out of wanting to adopt the same social norms as people who were oppressing you. It came out of, if we can co-opt those social norms, we get the rights that those social norms afford, which is a lot easier than changing the social norms. That happens, Yeah, exactly. They're either not remotely interested or way too interested. I would prefer way too interested. Yeah. The way too interested can definitely get into that, like, oh boy, things are okay. You know that that's changed, right? You know that that's no longer the case. That being said, I would far rather than be interested in learning about the past than in sort of ignoring the fact that it happened. So this wing piece that I just built goes onto there. You'll notice that it's sort of clicking into place. It's because it's got these sort of geary looking things. That means it doesn't slide. It actually has specific positions that can be held. Like this is just on a bar, so it can just swing freely. So, yeah, like I said, I like Tumblr, but I am fully aware that a lot of people on Tumblr are very limited in terms of their knowledge of history, and there are reasons for that that are not their fault. Your mentors don't exist. The people who should have been here to teach you this history, the history that they would have taught you, is unfortunately why they're not here. That is enraging. It is horrific. It is, yeah. But then would they listen? Yeah, once Tumblr cracked down on adult content, there was a lot. And again, this is speaking to history and fandom and the like. Having been someone who was on LiveJournal, did I do this? No, I did it right. I was like, this seems like an odd shape, but no, that's actually how it's supposed to be. I was on LiveJournal when Strike Through and Bold Through happened. Logged out and didn't log back in again. Do you have a Pillow Fort? Are you on Pillow Fort? As far as I know, Pillow Fort is not even remotely planning on cracking down on adult content, because as long as it is legal, they in fact are unable to use PayPal because of that. I highly recommend it, and I think I might have an invite code. So hit me later. Pillow Fort is taking all of the best things about Tumblr and all of the best things about journaling sites like LiveJournal and smushing them together in a frankly amazingly elegant way. You post things like you post on Tumblr, but then you can comment on them and you can reblog them like you would on Tumblr, but you can comment on them and have persistent conversations on one iteration of a post. And those conversations thread so that you can see who's responding to what and follow a single conversation from its beginning to its end. It also allows you to completely control your post. If you decide, I don't want this post up anymore, you can delete it, and it deletes all instances of it, which on one hand is like, oh man, that person deleted the post, and I had a really cool conversation going on in that, but also means that you are in control of your content. It doesn't sort of disappear out of your control once it's out in the world. Screenshots are still a thing, but the actual post on the platform will cease to exist. Reblogs, anything. it will cease to exist. So you have control over the content that you put out there, which is really neat. I really like Pillow Fort. I want more of my friends on it and creating content on it, because I'm more of a content, I take in content, I don't necessarily create. I write fanfic, and it goes slow. You know, I would love to be writing fanfic right now, but I sit down in front of my computer and it just isn't happening. So we'll see if that changes at some point in the future. I'm really hoping it will. There we go. Oh, I see. Turn my ship around. Turn this ship around right now. I did. I turned it around. Oh, Andy, I knocked over some of your towel. Sorry. I mean, I'm sure they're dry by now. No. Yeah, they're just gonna have to live on their backs for now. I'm sorry. So this connects to here. No, it doesn't. It goes upside down. Oops. Goes like that. That is the gangplank. That's the door. So, like that. Neat. All right. I don't know what these are supposed to be, but let's make them. Yeah, I think I have an invite code left. I gave out a handful of my invite codes because I was an early adopter. I wasn't like in the first wave, but I was in the beta. I was in the closed. No, I was in the open beta. I got myself an account. I signed up, and one of the things that they allowed you to do was, if you donated to them, they gave you a bunch of invite codes. So I've used a bunch. Oh, no, I did that. I did their Kickstarter, and I already had an account, so I got codes out of that too. I feel like they're now doing something with the invite codes, where they've now opened up like invite codes. One of the problems that they were definitely having was that because they are allowing adult content, they can't use PayPal because PayPal won't allow for adult content. And because they are a small startup, they have to charge some subscription fees. You can get a free account with an invite code, but if you want to get a premium account and get like more icon slots and stuff like that, then, and it's all like bonus stuff. It's not stuff that you need to make the site functional, which is nice. But if you want that, then you do have to pay, which makes sense. But if you're going to be paying, they had to find a different payment processor than PayPal. They were like, nope, we're not going to sacrifice like one of the reasons we created this site, because we wanted to be a place where people could like host the stuff they want to host without worry of it getting deleted. And so we don't want to be beholden to a payment processor to dictate what we are and are not going to allow. So they had to find a different payment processor than PayPal. But they have. So I really like their philosophy. I really like their like stated mission. I think they seem like really upstanding folks. I actually got an email from them today, maybe yesterday, something like that. Hold on. I've gotten so many emails from, like, everyone being like, here's what we're doing. Oh, yeah, a message from Pillow Fort staff. They say our entire team works remotely. We're in different parts of the U.S. Our team is routinely keeping in contact with each other during this time. While our team is just a small group of creators who are passionate in making the internet a better place, we would like to say that now more than ever we want to encourage you to continue sharing your creativity in your own time. Don't give up sharing the light you have to bring. It is in times like these that the arts, humor, and communication in general are important to bring hope to so many. So yeah, their entire staff is still working, still getting paid. They all work remotely, so they're safe. And yeah, one of my favorite nail polish brands actually made me really happy. Cirque Colors, which is, I want to say local to here because my packages ship from Massachusetts when I order from them. They are continuing to pay their entire staff, even though they have limited their on-site staff to basically just like 2 people, but they are paying their entire staff. Good for them, right? Highly recommend them if you can tolerate having nail polish on your nails. Highly, highly, highly recommended. Cirque Colors. Cirque like Cirque du Soleil. Finding this really interesting because it doesn't have, it's like asymmetrical with the labeling, which suggests that this is going to go on this somewhere because it's only got one decal on the side and it's only got one decal here, and it only came with one set of decals, and as you can see there's only one more of those and there's only one more of those, so that's interesting. You wish you were any good at keeping your nails painted but you trash them in pretty short order. So here's the thing, I am a big nail polish fan. I love nail polish. It's the one type of makeup that I wear on the regular. I don't do my face at all. I don't wear lipstick. I don't even wear lip gloss. I don't do the makeup. My friend Sarah is an amazing, amazing makeup artist. She's just really, really good at it, and she always has a full face, and she looks great, and she loves doing it. And that's awesome. It's something that brings her joy. So, I'm glad that she does it. That being said, it's not for me. As such, because nail polish is like the one thing that I do, I have gotten to be a bit of a connoisseur of nail polish. I had a brand I really loved, Rescue Beauty Lounge, which was out of New York. And Rescue Beauty Lounge, it was pricey, but 100% worth it in my book, because yeah, you'd spend like 18 bucks on a single bottle of nail polish, and that single body of nail polish would last. I mean, I have not run out of any of my colors, because you could get opacity in like 1 or 2 coats, and you could have them be thin coats, and they wear like iron. They just stay. Which makes me really happy because my hands are almost always dry because I work with books. And paper just dries your hands out. The ideal, wow, it's like it's painted with Vantablack, thereby horrifying Anish Kapoor. The ideal humidity for, like, most places is one thing. The ideal humidity for a library, as you might expect, with all the books, is much lower. Ideal humidity is like 12% in a library or something like that. Which, I mean, you're kind of talking archival library for ideal. We don't keep it quite that dry at TCPL, but it does tend to be pretty dry in there of a necessity, which is, like, it's not the worst, but it's also not great for your skin. It'll wreck your hands real fast. So we all have tons of hand lotion and stuff. And even before this, we were always being like, hand sanitizer, especially in the children's room. Because goodness knows, you watch a kid walk up to you and they wipe their nose and then hand you a book with the same hand. I once had, do you want to hear a terrifying story about a child handing something to a coworker at the library? It's fast. So, one of my coworkers at one point was a lovely young woman named Kathleen. And Kathleen was helping a patron who was on the phone with someone while her child pulled books out of a bag and handed them to Kathleen to check out. So they had picked out all their books, put them in their bag, and then they brought them up to the desk and checked them out. And I was sitting at the other side of the desk, and I was listening as this woman was on the phone with someone, probably a spouse, saying, no, we were at the doctor's. No, it's fine. It's just pink eye. They gave me an ointment. It'll be fine. Meanwhile, the kid is handing the books to my coworker and rubbing her eyes. I was like, huh, Kathleen, go, bleach your hands. Don't touch your face. Don't touch anything else. Go boil your hands. Which she did in short order as soon as the patron was gone. Yeah. So we're always using hand sanitizer at the desk. It's just a constant. I don't use it as much in my branch because the bathroom is right behind my desk. So I can just pop into the bathroom and wash my hands. Which I do. But that also dries out your hands. So, yeah, we all have tons of lotion. Yeah, that's why childcare workers are so upset. Yeah. Because kids... So, I feel like I probably annoyed a friend at one point. One of my friends had said that she wanted to get together and keep our distance, but maybe, see each other. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I've been around a bunch of kids, and they're basically little disease vectors. And I wasn't saying that to be mean. I was saying it as an accuracy. That at that point in time, I had been around a number of children, and kids are bad at spreading disease. They don't think about coughing into their arm, their elbows. They don't think about rubbing their eye if if they have pink eye and handing you the books. They don't think about it because they're kids and they need to be taught that, but they're kids, they're developing. They're still they're still figuring things out. And they need to be told not to do those things. All right, so we've put our jets on. So we figured out the reason for the asymmetry is that it is actually either side of a ship. Neat. And now it's time to make the cockpit. But yeah, I was like, oh, I don't want to be around, you know, I've been around a whole bunch of disease vectors, and I then didn't hear back from her right away. I was like, oh, she probably took that like I'm being mean. I didn't mean it to be mean. I know the reality of what I'm around, which is that kids don't always wash their hands. The number of times that I've had a parent say to a kid, the kid asks us to use the bathroom. We tell them sure. They go into the bathroom and they walk out, and you know they have not washed their hands because you are sitting like 7 feet away from the bathroom. You can hear whether the sink was on or not. And you can hear whether they ripped down paper towels. Like, you know. Sometimes you know they didn't flush. You know. And they walk out, and their parents go, did you wash your hands? And the kid goes, yeah. And you're sitting there at the desk going, and the parent's like, okay, let's go wash your hands. But sometimes the parents don't ask. So they do not always think to do such things. Kids learn by modeling. Gotta model the behavior you want your kid to have. Kids with parents who read are more likely to become readers themselves. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. Pi is totally on board with that. Yeah, they don't think about rubbing their conjunctivitis infected eye because their eye is itchy. So yeah, they gotta scratch it. Obviously. That's why, like, their brains are still developing. They don't get born with the full knowledge of the world already in their heads. You gotta teach them. But yeah, that means that, like, when a kid hands me a book and it's wet, you know, why is it wet? I did once have a woman hand me a bunch of books, and I was like, oh, is it raining out? And she goes, why? And I said, well, the books are wet. She goes, no, they're not. They're just cold. I was like, no, I know the difference between wet and cold. So I rubbed my hand across the top of them and I showed my hand to her. Of course, my hand was wet. She was like, oh, they are wet. I'm like, oh, yeah, they sure are. I mean, it was more that I wanted to make sure nothing was leaking in her bag, which is exactly what had happened, is a water bottle had leaked. Fortunately, not like fully. It was just sort of seeping a little bit. Or it was, no, it was that it was sweating. Locking up there, you need to wash your hands, then punching out. Are you punching out on the computer or the phone? Like, wash your hands and then wash your hands. And then when you get home, wash your hands. Like, as soon as you get home, I want you to wash your hands. I will see you soon, honey. But yeah. She had a bottle that was sweating in her bag. So it was, of course, making things in the bag wet. And that wasn't like me being like, oh, how dare you. It was, something's leaking in your bag. It got our stuff wet, though our stuff can survive it because it's not so wet that it's damaged anything. But there might be something else inside your bag that can't, like, that can't take that, you know? I once had a woman at, when I worked at, I worked at a video store through college. I worked at a local independent video chain. And, my God, there are a lot of missiles on this thing. So actually, if we tilt this up, you can see, maybe, there are a number of holes under here. There are like 4 holes here. We're going to be putting missiles in each of those. So here are our little missiles. When I was in college, I worked at a local video store chain called TLA. TLA had originally been connected to the Theater for the Living Arts, which is now a concert venue, in Philly, or it was. I don't know if it's still around. Like, I don't know if it has shut since I was last in Philly. I saw They Might Be Giants there when I was in college, my freshman year of college. I saw They Might Be Giants there. It was like during freshman week, during orientation week, we heard that They Might Be Giants was going to be in Philly. We got tickets, we went, and then had to get ourselves back to campus without really knowing the way back, and it was after SEPTA had shut down for the night, so we had to get a cab back from Center City to Bryn Mawr, and there was construction on the highway. It was horrible. But the Theater for the Living Arts was like an art house sort of venue. It was like, it showed independent films and stuff like that. And it had a video store connected to it at the time, or early on, to sell like the videos of the sorts of things that people who came to the concert venue or the movie venue wanted to see. Oh, so you can, okay. I was wondering why these things back here, these bits back here, these things were loose and sliding back and forth, and it's so you can push it forward, and it launches the missiles. So if I were to push this forward, it would pop them out, which I'm not going to do so they don't end up all over the apartment, and then in my cat's mouth, because she has already found like a Hydra agent and attacked him, which good for her. Always eat Nazis. Wait, what? But yeah, TLA was originally connected with the Theater of the Living Arts. Transition to the big camera. TLA was originally connected to the theater, and then a bunch of employees of the theater and video store decided the theater owner was like going to jettison the video store portion of it and change up how the venue worked, and a bunch of employees got together and bought it. And then it grew. They built it up into 6 stores, I think, eventually. I want to say a max of 6 stores. Andy would know because he worked there too, but he's on his way home. But it was an independent video store chain. It early adopted DVDs really quickly, which was really cool. I was there for that. It had an adult section, which no other video stores in the area really had. Bryn Mawr and Haverford and the surrounding areas on the main line successfully repelled Big Blue Blockbuster for ages because we had a really great local video store, and we had new releases, and we had older movies, we had really niche, odd things. We had a really extensive documentary and foreign collection. The documentary collection was my collection to sort of take care of and mind the display for. Foreign, we had an extensive foreign collection at a time. These were VHS cassettes. You couldn't just pick another language when you played them. So, yeah, it was a thing. It was really interesting. And it was really cool to work at for a long time. It no longer exists as it once did. They were transitioning. Even when I was there, they were starting to get into film production as opposed to renting. They still did a lot of rentals and a lot of sales, but they were starting to produce as well. They produced films for the Philadelphia Fringe Fest. So yeah, I don't know whether the company at all still exists. If it does, I would say warning if you're going to go to their site, because I pulled it up once and accidentally showed the person I was standing with some porn. I was standing with Kale at Battleground. He was like, "Whoa!" And I was like, "Wait, what? What? Oh, God." Did not expect that, because they did a lot of adult stuff. But yeah, the experiences at TLA were, if you've ever watched Empire Records and thought, no workplace is really like this, you did not work at TLA, because TLA was exactly like that. Down to staff having meltdowns in the back room and staff like dancing around the store and just weird hijinks. When Crazy Taxi came out for the Genesis, I want to say, when Crazy Taxi came out, we actually co-opted the store's rental unit for the whatever platform it was out on, and hooked it up to the TV that we used in the back to look at security tapes so that we could play Crazy Taxi on breaks. And there were a couple of people who like wouldn't take smoke breaks. They would instead take Crazy Taxi breaks. Yeah. So it was that sort of workplace. It was a very silly place to work. And there was a woman once who came in, and the Thin Red Line had just come out on VHS. No. Thin Red Line came out and Saving Private Ryan came out at the same time. It was Saving Private Ryan that she was returning, because I remember it was one of the most expensive per copy items that we had on hand. Because VHS tapes have a lot of bits and pieces in them. They were expensive to make. And also, at the time, because rental stores were a thing, because streaming was not, production companies could charge what they wanted for rental copies, which rental stores would then recoup their investment on by renting them out. And then it would go up for sale. It was a big deal when Titanic came out for sale at the same time as for rent. That was like a huge deal. I was working at Blockbuster at that point. That was a huge thing. That was massive. Oh my God. But TLA did not have the clout that Blockbuster did, so we paid full price for everything that we rented out. And I want to say Saving Private Ryan was like $106 or $112 per copy at rental price. And that was because the idea was that you paid a premium for it, and then you'd pay less depending on how many copies you were buying. So somewhere like Big Blue could, get a good discount on it, whereas a small rental chain or a single rental store was going to pay through the nose. So they'd buy like maybe 2 copies, which that's why they didn't have lots of copies of a new release. And then the idea would be that once you had rented it out a whole bunch, you would have made your money back on most of those copies. And those would be the copies that you would then take out of circulation and sell as used items. And they would be in the worst shape. So, yeah, it was just one of those things. And she had a copy of Saving Private Ryan, and it was practically new. I think it had been rented by like 2 people prior to her. So it really only had like $6 knocked off the price. And she spilled a bottle of massage oil in her bag. And it got inside the hard case and thence inside the VHS tape, because VHS tapes are not sealed. That gate opens, the little poppy bit that opens up is the gate, and the gate just It's just shielding the magnetic tape that the video is on. It's not actually sealing it. It's just there so that you're not touching it constantly. Because guess what? Oil on magnetic tape causes static. And that causes, it's hard for then the magnetic heads in a VCR to read. And then the oil on the tape transfers to the magnetic heads that are reading it because the tape is right up against the magnetic heads. And then the heads have oil on them, which then transfers to your other videos. So all your videos now, transmission, because no social isolation. Yeah. So she spilled a bottle of massage oil in her bag, and when she put the video down on the counter, it pooled around the case. And I said, "What's that?" I didn't want to touch it. And she said, "Oh, I don't know." And I was like, "Oh, don't like that." So I very gingerly opened it up, and it was all through the case, and it was on the video. And I was like, "I think I need to get a manager for this, because I think we're going to have to charge you for the video." She goes, "What? No, it's just massage oil. I just had a bottle of it in my bag. It must have leaked." And I was like, "Yeah, but that means that the tape is unusable now." Because it didn't get inside it. So I popped the gate open. It's like pooling inside the gate. I was like, "Yeah, it did." And then came the very, very upsetting revelation that it was going to be like $100. So I went and got a manager because I was not paid enough to deal with that. So fun times working in public service. So hey, guess what? We built a thing. We built a little proto Quinjet. So this is officially, the official set is, this was the Captain Marvel and the Skrull Attack. And it's got Carol flying on the box, and Nick piloting, and Talos grabbing Goose, which seems like that would go poorly for him. Why is Talos even touching Goose? I would think Talos wouldn't want to go near Goose. But he's like holding Goose by the tail on the box. Hold on, let me switch to the other camera and I'll show you. Like, what even? You know, it's actually on the instruction booklet, so let me switch. Look at this! He's holding Goose by the tail. That's not smart. Don't do that. But there's Carol flying. Nick's piloting. Goose is probably about to unleash a whole lot of tentacle on someone. Talos, specifically. Yeah, seems like a bad choice. Seems like a poor life choice. But aside from that bit of tomfoolery, we built a thing. We built a ship. Look at it. So I will probably... So I'm running out of... One of the reasons why I have a whole bunch of Lego sets that I haven't built, and why they're sort of sitting in a bookcase behind me in their boxes, is because I'm running out of display space for them. So, yeah, I need to find a place to let this live. Usually what I do when I'm displaying the ships, if I can, or if there's nowhere for, like I have, the Milano, which I'm not going to try and show on the zoom cam. One, because it's too big, and two, because it's hella dusty. But I do have the Milano, which I'll show off to camera. And the Milano is actually fairly sizable. It's a large ship. And it actually has a whole top panel that comes away. And it has room inside for everyone. So I have Gamora steering the ship, and Drax is hanging out back there. And yeah, it's got room for everyone basically but Groot, and Groot is hanging out up on a bookcase. Whereas the Quinjet here, it doesn't really have an interior. It just has the cockpit. So it doesn't really have a place for me. Okay, why am I doing this? Why am I making my own life harder? Why don't I just move the glue? It doesn't really have a place for people to be inside it except for one. It's only got space for like Nick to sit, and then you have to find a place to stick his gun. Stick Carol up here. We'll put Talos here. We'll move Carol back a step, and we'll put Goose with Carol. I see how that's supposed to work. There we go. There we go. We built a thing. I made a thing. We'll sit it there for now. It can hang out with the Milano and the helicarrier. Not contemporary. I believe Andy is going to try and do more painting tomorrow morning, and do a morning stream with some painting stuff. And on Friday, we're going to do Obscuria with chat. We're going to let the chat play along as one of the magicians trying to escape a cursed library. And one of us, Andy or I, will be the grimoire, and then chat and the other person can be the magicians. Unless we have... I think it would be easier to just play it without the traitor mechanic, because trying to give each individual chat member who plays with us their own card and let them look and be like, yeah, close your eyes. You at home, close your eyes. But then you got to deal with the delay, and so we probably won't play with a traitor. We'll just play with traps and a grimoire and some magicians. So yeah, we'll be doing that Friday night. We're going to try and do that normal board game stream time, 7:30 Eastern. Yeah, tomorrow morning Andy's going to do some painting, and then while he's at work, maybe I will do something like this again. Maybe I'll do some painting. Maybe I will play a solitaire game of Chrononauts. Maybe I'll build more Lego. Goodness knows I have a lot of it. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you, Pi, for popping in and hanging out with me. I was really enjoying your Arcade Spirits stream earlier. I wasn't paying full attention to it because I was doing my daily workout so that I don't feel completely inactive. I'm used to being up and about a lot more. And, but I was really enjoying just having you in the background. And yeah, it was really nice. So if you stream again, do let me know. I will be happy to pop in if I am not sort of otherwise engaged in a way that I can't have my computer or my phone up. And I'm going to try to transition to the closing credits now. And we'll see if that works. You're going to finish that stream up tomorrow and then jump back into Kingdom Hearts after that? Cool. I will be really, really, really excited to see you finish up with Ashley. I'm not as much of a Kingdom Hearts fan, but I will probably still have you on, because company is good. So be safe, be healthy, and hopefully I will see you all again soon. Bye.